Some people, depending on circumstance, have the nasty habit of setting their expectations very high, way too high. And there's a lot of us out there that do. We set our expectations way too high than what they should be. Either there be expectations from other people or expectations out of ourselves. Now, that's not very good for us. And I've had to experience this myself. And over the years, I've found ways of dealing with it and being able to understand it in such a way where I can set my expectations not so low, but to a standard where it doesn't hinder me in a bad way. I'll give you two examples. Number one is when years ago, I guess over a decade ago, I was in the car with my mom and she was talking about getting a dog. I was hyped, I was excited. I had my expectations set so high that it wasn't a we might get a dog. In my mind, it was we are getting a dog. And about 2 weeks later, when my mom told me that unfortunately we weren't getting a dog, I was shattered. Now keep in mind, I was very young when this happened, so that happens to anybody if they have their expectations too high, young or old, is that we set it so high that when that expectation isn't met, it just disappoints us so much. Well, disappointment for anybody who's older and a bit more mature, but for kids it's devastating. And that is something that you don't really realize until you get older, that having your expectations set so high and then obviously having them met is fantastic, but you have to realize that not always are you going to have your expectations met. And that's just the first one. The second one is actually a bit better. Second is when I was going for my motorcycle license. I went into that test not having my expectations high. I had them set, I'd say, at an average. I practiced for the test, I studied for it, and I thought I was ready. If I passed, I'd be okay with that. And if I failed, or at least I knew that I tried my best and I just had to practice more. I had my expectations set at a good enough level so that if I failed, it was okay, and if I passed, it was okay. There was no major down and major up. And that's the thing. When you have your expectations set to a good standard, and you can just accept the fact that that standard is either not met or met, it'll be a lot better for you. If you have your expectations set so high, as a lot of us do, it will lead to either great disappointment or great joy, but you can't always live like that. You have to live your life accepting the fact that your standards and expectations of fantasy or reality aren't always going to be met. Now, this is something that I guess everybody goes through at a different pace and different times. So I just wanted to share my own personal experience with having my expectations set way too high and realizing that I needed to lower them in order to deal with things better. So yeah, that's about it. So I'm hoping whoever's watching this has taken something out of it, and I'll see you in the next one.